True power lies not in dominating others or controlling places and things, but in the ability to manifest your intentions through clear, honest communication and unwavering integrity. When you speak your truth without fear of misunderstanding or judgment, you align with the greater creative force of the universe and exercise true freedom of being. Our experience of the world reflects what we project, both visually and energetically. Just as the eyes capture light waves, our subconscious transmits vibrations of love, gratitude, or fear. By consciously observing and choosing your thoughts and emotions, you step into a higher awareness from which you can project qualities like appreciation and grace. In any situation, intentionally radiating love and positivity magnetizes corresponding experiences into your life. You become exactly what you attract. To find the perfect partner, first become the partner you wish to attract. To invite abundance, embody generosity. Visualizing your desired outcomes in the present moment triggers neurochemical processes in the brain, specifically between the limbic system and hypothalamus, that align your entire being with those outcomes. Your feelings about circumstances mirror your inner state. If you feel stuck, it reflects stagnant beliefs. If you feel vibrant and joyful, it echoes your alignment with higher energies. What stands out in your environment is a projection of your inner thoughts and beliefs. A messy home may mirror internal clutter. A beautiful sunrise may reflect an inner brightness. To uncover these connections, simply turn inward whenever you notice strong reactions to the outer world. If you need deeper insight, humbly ask your higher self for guidance, and be prepared to learn. The universe abhors a vacuum. Letting go of outdated beliefs and emotions creates space for fresh, joyful experiences. Release old patterns, write them down and burn them if necessary, then consciously invite new possibilities. Abundance is your birthright, born of a balanced outflow, generosity, and inflow, receptivity. Practice friendliness to foster friendships. Share your resources to unlock greater wealth. Prosperity flourishes when you hold clear intentions and cultivate financial intelligence, using money wisely rather than hoarding it. Clarity of thought and purpose frees creative energy. Vague desires generate fog. Clear intentions act like arrows, drawing in exactly what you aim for. Meditate objectively to sharpen your focus, then declare your intentions with unwavering conviction. When you make clear, doubtless affirmations, "I am one with universal purpose," you activate both angelic assistance and the universal mind. Intentions sustained by clarity and integrity become irresistible forces of manifestation. There are 3 ascending levels of spiritual power. Prayer, a dialogue with the divine, where every thought and word is a prayer. Affirmation, conscious, repeated declarations that reprogram the subconscious. Decree, single, powerful commands issued from a state of wholeness, instantly enacted by the universe. Begin with prayer, reinforce with affirmations, and arrive at decrees when you feel complete. Each level deepens your responsibility and co-creative partnership with higher forces. Life unfolds through polarity, light and dark, giving and receiving. True mastery arises when you acknowledge extremes without judgment, cultivating inner equilibrium. Balance your masculine, doing, logical, and feminine, being, intuitive, energies to act on insight. Embrace full responsibility for your circumstances, understanding that responsibility is responsibility, the grace of choosing your reactions and shaping your reality. Meditation is not forced, it dawns when you're ready to merge with self-awareness. Prepare by observing your breath, gently counting inhales and exhales until thoughts dissolve. In true meditation, you hear not just with your ears but with your heart, uniting mind and soul. This silent communion grants direct access to divine revelation. Healing occurs when a higher frequency light flows through a clear channel. Before you begin, request permission from both the recipient and the angelic realm, and ensure your own vibration is sufficient. Ground yourself and your client, attune to the energy flow, then detach to allow healing to happen effortlessly. Each successful session purifies you further. By practicing these principles, projection, flow, clarity, balanced responsibility, conscious prayer, and deep listening, you awaken to your innate creative power. Declare your affirmations, release your decrees, and watch as the universe lovingly manifests your highest intentions. The question, "What is the meaning of life?" has haunted thinkers through the ages. At its heart it asks the what, why, where, when and how of our existence, not only for humanity, but for every unfolding phenomenon in the manifest world. Through objective observation we can pinpoint where and when, but what, how, and especially why belong to the hidden workings of mind and spirit. Modern neuroscience has given us ways to measure the what and how of thought. Logical intelligence, our capacity to catalog, compute and analyze, can be tested via IQ assessments, tracing synaptic firings and memory retrieval. Emotional intelligence, our ability to resonate with sensations, form rapports and nurture empathy, can be observed in how readily we connect with others, how smells or sights trigger memories, or how skillfully we forge trust. Yet the deepest why, the underlying purpose that animates being, escapes any instrument. This domain we call spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence is not tethered to ideas, opinions, or experiences. It is the natural genius of living, present whenever our left, logical, and right, emotional, hemispheres unite in a single, undivided awareness. In that one cortex function, our ordinary thought processes fall away, and a presence arises that cannot be reduced to brain waves. We summon it by stilling the mind, dysfunctioning habitual thinking, and choosing, moment by moment, to live in the present now. In this space of pure choice, we invoke our own spirit and shape our reality through intention, prayer, affirmations, and decrees. This spiritual science reveals life's principles as frequencies, energy bands we can tune into once we become present to existence itself. Ancient myths cast these principles as gods and goddesses. Ancestral reverence celebrated their never-ending transmission through generation after generation. Today we might speak of 144,000 nerve channels at the solar plexus, or of 12 cranial nerves and their spiritual counterparts, formal symbols pointing toward the infinite variations of principle we might embody. To purify our being, to cleanse the aura that surrounds us, we renounce fear-based identifications, grief, anger, jealousy. As we release these dense vibrations, perhaps by writing down and burning negative thoughts, and celebrate gratitude instead, our aura shines bright. A pure aura blocks noxious energy, confers safety, and invites grace. We learn to observe heated situations without reactively projecting thought. By becoming the ultimate observer, we pierce the veil of mind and ego and enter into alignment with higher forces, the angelic realms that bestow wisdom. Living from that alignment, we give and receive blessings and grace, unmerited favor that dissolves karma, unlocks miracles, and brings abundance. We practice gratitude to fan life's smallest spark into a blazing fire. We practice forgiveness to clear stuck energy, heal relationships, and free ourselves from fear's prison. We cultivate faith, mustard seed trust that the greatest good will manifest when we listen to and merge with the divine within. We make decrees from this field of unity, shaping outcomes from the present now rather than from past limitations. At each step, right knowledge leads to right wisdom to right thinking to right action. In this unfolding, life becomes exactly what we make it, an expression of creative spirit rather than a puzzle to be solved. To be present is to be in the world without being of it, to witness without being consumed, to live the life we love by aligning mind, heart, and soul. In that moment of perfect union, in the twinkling of an eye, we awaken to the ultimate mystery, that the meaning of life is neither found nor given, but lived. We live within the confines of our own human understanding, our science, our way of doing things, the kindness, courtesy, and respect we extend to each other. These are the walls of our reality. Yet within our minds lies a universe of infinite possibility. Whenever we encounter someone seeking this path, we must respond with open hearts, compassionate strength, and generous examples, as though guiding a child, because it is the children who naturally look to us, the older generation, for guidance, and the older generation who watch the younger and wonder if there truly is a future. Our strength lies in the vigor of youth and the wisdom we have accumulated. To move forward, we must unite, for no single life experience can encompass all truths. Even if we speak the same words, we interpret them differently, so we must not bear this journey alone. There exists a being among us performing what many deem impossible, yet his achievements are not born of some foreign glory but of our shared humanity. He is unwell, and we are unwell, unable to see our potential in health. His purpose is to reflect back to us the divine qualities hidden in plain sight, our own faces inscribed on ancient tablets and sacred books, revealing our genetic inheritance. He reminds us that, far from asking the impossible, we are capable of divine transformation. The notion of a remnant or chosen few is simply a test of perseverance, not an exclusion of community. Upon leaving this room, we step into the unknown armed only with what we learn here. Outside, answers are scarce. Inside, they are abundant. We must help one another, set aside ego, and pull each other forward. Though he stands at the podium, he is among us, subject to the same doubts. The same "who are you to tell me?" thrust upon him by countless skeptics across languages and nations, even those who sought his life. Yet he persists in delivering clarity. Discipline, focus, and concentration are the pillars of his teaching. Dwell neither on past failures nor future uncertainties, but on the present moment, for each moment shapes the next reality. Focus on what is being born now, yourself, your divinity, the royalty within you. Begin by writing your intentions. The pen, like the word, holds transformative power. He teaches non-violence in spirit. When his father's life was taken, he chose response over reaction, birthing gods, resurrecting the living dead, restoring them to their thrones so they may reign as conscious creators of their world. We have no excuse to falter. Let us face our truth, claim it without fear, and disregard the lies told about us, the nothingness imposed upon our ancestors. Let us progress in knowledge and unity, for our experiences, our languages, our cultures converge in this shared purpose. Even the extraterrestrial and UFO phenomena are woven into this grand tapestry. The sun's rays carry messages as light, as magnetism, vibrating through our blood to awaken latent powers lost for millennia. These messages align our genetics with those of our ancestral stars, Ilion, Orion's belt, and open gateways to higher dimensions, if only we learn to perceive them beyond the commercialized spells of cinema and radio frequencies. Language itself, with its tones and vibrations, can bridge or bar passage to these truths. History shows Nimrod resisted cultural erasure, Sargon upheld ancient teachings, yet both faced prison and persecution for striving to share knowledge. Today, we must stop making this path arduous. Accept our teacher as both guide and fellow traveler, our spiritual reformer whose message is the key to resurrection in our time. Yes, he endures abduction, trials, even physical invasions, tales of alien overlords and harvests of souls, but these fears underscore the urgency of our mission. Since 2000, 144,000 have been taken, as depicted in The Fourth Kind, a warning of what happens when we ignore our cosmic heritage. He urges us to awaken, not merely believe, but know our divinity, for our faces indeed adorn sacred walls. Michael Jackson's Off the Wall celebrated this awakening, and they silenced him for it. Our collective duty is clear: unite to free Baba Yanun from his rock, to reveal our shared love and appreciation, and to educate the youth who will carry this knowledge forward. We must form bonds, learn each other's gifts, and collaborate, here, at the center, from which all energy radiates. Concentrated self-contained center, focus, union, ascent. Step by step, moment by moment, we can endure the stress of transformation. He alone has the plan for the next 25,000 years. We must align ourselves with it through discipline, focus, and the shedding of harmful habits. So let us embrace this moment, enact our divine potential, and build a future worthy of our ancestors' dreams. Go forth with the knowledge that we are gods in the making, reborn, united, and unstoppable. Historically, in some teachings, stones refer to the 12 precious stones on the high priest's breastplate in ancient Israel, what later became known as the breastplate of judgment in Leviticus. These stones were believed to shield the priests from the intense radiation or divine energy emanating from the Ark of the Covenant, much like a modern-day containment suit or a NASA spacesuit protects against harmful cosmic rays. The term Yumi stones, on the other hand, appears in some later commentaries as another layer of esoteric technology, crystals capable of recording and storing vast amounts of information via their internal lattices, akin to how silicon chips store data in computers today. In fact, just as an iPod transfers pictures, music, and video through electrical impulses onto a silicon-based microchip, these ancient stones harness quartz crystals to capture light energy frequencies. Enthusiasts call this ability psychometry. By touching a crystal, a gifted individual could read its stored memories, extracting historical or spiritual knowledge without any external device. This concept of crystallized knowledge surfaces in popular culture, too. Consider Superman. He retrieves crystals from his home world, places them in a crystalline fortress, and each crystal contains the entire history and science of Krypton, which he accesses directly. Similarly, our ancestral stones functioned as extraterrestrial data banks, encoding everything from cosmology and healing sciences to advanced metaphysics. Moreover, some teachings describe an exotic substance, often called liquid gold within our bodies that, when activated, allows a transformation from physical form into pure light, enabling travel through wormholes or warp space faster than conventional light speed. This is reminiscent of the spice in Frank Herbert's Dune, which bends space for instantaneous interstellar travel. In both narratives, mastery over these crystals or the spice gives one dominion over time and space. Stories of Solomon's ring and red mercury also tie into this lore. The ring allegedly housed a fragment of Asaya stone, a deep red ruby crystal, the same hue as the apple in the Genesis tale, symbolizing the fruit of divine knowledge. Just as Adam's bite opened his eyes to good and evil, Solomon's ring granted control over spiritual entities, integrating ancient Israelite doctrine with Babylonian and Egyptian ritual technology. Finally, modern parallels emerge in today's tech world. Names like Mac trace back to ancient terms: Mick, Ani, Theo, and the HAL 9000 computer in 2001. A Space Odyssey even hints at IBM through a simple letter shift. The progression from cassette tapes and Betamax to iPads and solid-state drives mirrors the gradual public unveiling of crystal-based, frequency-driven data storage that our forebears once wielded as supernatural tools. In short, what you're hearing in religious texts, science fiction, and tech history is often the same core narrative: crystals as data carriers, spiritual practices as early information science, and the human quest to tap into the underlying frequencies of reality. For centuries, our people have lived under the influence of colonial powers and foreign religions, struggling to remember our African identity and culture. From the Catholic Church's early dominance to the later rise of Islam, successive spiritual systems have been layered upon us like complex spells, each more insidious than the last. Under Roman rule, Christianity was deployed to maintain control over conquered lands. But as the Church's influence in the Arabian Peninsula waned, a new system emerged: Islam. In the 7th century, Muhammad proclaimed that the angel Gabriel revealed a divine message to him. Yet this revelation occurred within a context already shaped by Roman Catholic teaching. Muhammad's wife and her uncle, both Christians, encouraged him as a respected holy man. In truth, Islam became a tool to reassert influence over the vital trade routes centered around Mecca, a hub linking East Africa, Arabia, and beyond. By cloaking political and economic ambitions in religious language, the Church sought to preserve its reach when it could no longer hold sway directly. Like earlier religious frameworks, Islam absorbed and repurposed pagan symbols. The crescent and star on Islamic flags trace back to Arabian moon deities, just as many temple rituals honored ancient gods of Canaan. In the same way, dietary laws and sacrificial rites, barbecue in one form or another, reflect an assimilation of older, indigenous practices. Layers of belief were added so that even when one form of spiritual coercion was broken, another remained to tether us to foreign masters. These systems of control have targeted our bodies and minds. Christianity taught us to baptize with water, while Islam enforced veiling and strict gender hierarchies, both meant to suppress natural human expression and keep communities fractured. In Islam, women are often hidden away in the veil and subjected to harsh punishments under Sharia law. In Christianity, doctrines of submission and modesty limit a woman's freedom under the guise of gentler guidance. Beyond religion, the legacy of colonialism has distorted our family structures and relationships. Dispersed through slavery, African peoples were stripped of our cultural frameworks. Today, in America, many of our marriage and dating expectations mimic European romantic myths, roses and cinematic gestures, that collapse in real life because they ignore authentic African values of community, shared responsibility, and respect for ancestral bonds. Even our reproductive patterns have been manipulated. Europeans sought to enforce monogamy among themselves partly to slow population growth, while Africans traditionally accepted polygynous family structures that suited larger communal needs. When we adopt European norms, we disrupt deep-seated cultural patterns that once balanced social and economic life in African societies. The result is that modern African diasporic communities are caught between forced European mindsets and fractured spiritual allegiances. We are convinced that Western ways of relating, worship, and family life are normal, even as these imported systems undermine our emotional health, mutual care, and sense of purpose. Moving forward, we must break the spells by relearning our history, revitalizing indigenous knowledge, and reconstructing relationships based on African principles of collective well-being. Through critical study, questioning every claim, consulting primary sources, and demanding evidence, we can dismantle the layers of religious and cultural coercion. Only then can we restore a genuine African identity unburdened by foreign dominion and truly free ourselves from the control that still lingers today. Over the course of this discussion, we've touched on three interrelated themes: understanding our own nature and that of others, the various forms of love and how they connect us to one another and to the divine, and the necessity of uprooting the ego in order to realign ourselves with our truer, higher purpose. First, when we encounter people who seem different, whether in culture, behavior, or belief, it's because their natural tendencies and life experiences have shaped them in ways unfamiliar to us. It's not enough to label these differences as racism or prejudice. Instead, we must approach the study of human nature as an anthropologist or paleontologist would, observing, cataloging, and seeking to understand. And the most important subject in that study is always ourselves. Only by recognizing our own innate drives, our habitual responses, and the ways in which external forces have molded our minds can we begin to free ourselves from unconscious patterns and prevent those distortions from passing on to our children. Central to that process is a deeper examination of love. Love isn't a single feeling but a spectrum of connection, all rooted in the fundamental sense of contact. At the most basic level, what we might call contact love, we connect physically and sensorially, through sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. These are all forms of contact that generate chemical and neurological responses in our bodies. When I stand on a hilltop and watch the sunrise, or inhale the fragrance of a flower, I experience a kind of love born of simple, direct contact with the world around me. From there we move to a higher octave of relationship, darling love, which carries a spiritual component. Here, connection isn't only about physical sensation, but about soul-to-soul resonance, the bond between parent and child, between partners, between members of a tight-knit community. These are acts of love that go beyond necessity or instinct. They arise from a deeper recognition of another's inherent worth. Above even that is divine love, the purest form of connection, exemplified by the patience and generosity of the divine itself. Divine love transcends all personal agendas and emotional fluctuations. It's the steadfast, all-encompassing love that underlies true forgiveness, unshakable compassion, and the willingness to uplift others regardless of circumstance. Cultivating divine love requires us to move beyond the lower frequencies of emotion, jealousy, possessiveness, selfishness, and to embody the example set by those spiritual teachers who have shown us how to live from that higher vibration. Yet even as we explore these dimensions of love, we must confront the active self, the ego, that constantly seeks to reproduce its habitual patterns. Genuine spiritual progress demands rigorous self-examination and the uprooting of ingrained defects, pride, stubbornness, self-justification, and the inability to see our own faults. As one sacred text puts it, only through disciplined practice, selfless service, sincere introspection, and association with spiritually minded individuals, can we weaken the lower self and develop a powerful but selfless will. When we admit our weaknesses, open our hearts to honest feedback, and commit wholeheartedly to transformation, we begin to dismantle the barriers that block our connection to higher realities. All of this, our study of human nature, our exploration of love's many registers, and our struggle against the ego, is ultimately aimed at raising our vibration to align with the truth of who we really are. We are not mere animals driven by sensation, nor are we captives of social or cultural programming. We are spiritual beings with the capacity to touch realms beyond the physical, to connect with ancestors and higher intelligences, and to shape our own destiny through conscious choice. When we learn to master our senses, govern our emotions, and live from the higher frequencies of love and service, we become the supreme beings of which our teachers speak, beings who neither control nor dominate others, but who uplift and inspire by example. In practical terms, this means taking responsibility for the environments we enter, the relationships we build, and the media and messages we allow to influence us. It means refusing to accept externally imposed standards for how or when we should love, give thanks, or express ourselves. Instead, we reclaim our birthright, to love according to the natural rhythms of our own hearts, to give thanks whenever gratitude arises, and to celebrate connection on our own terms. Ultimately, the path is one of constant change and growth. Just as language and culture evolve, so too must our understanding of ourselves and the world. But change is not something to fear, it is the very pulse of life. If we embrace it consciously, rooting out ego, refining our practice of love, and deepening our knowledge of ourselves, then every shift in vibration becomes an opportunity to move closer to the divine, to our ancestors, and to the highest expression of our shared humanity. You've been led to look outward for answers, what you must do, say or become, yet all of it originates within. When everyone else is shouting at you to act, think or speak a certain way, you tend to resist, but often you overtalk, over-explain, or overreact. Those tendencies aren't accidents, they're inherited patterns, passed down through generations, shaped by culture, family and spirit. Many of us come from backgrounds that prize humility and compassion, sometimes to the point of passivity, rather than domination or aggression. Yet aggression itself isn't inherently wrong, it's simply energy, as are humility and compassion. The key is knowing which energy to apply, and when. Overusing any one energy, anger, greed, fear, becomes toxic. It destroys relationships and poisons our inner life. True mastery of these energies comes from understanding their proper context. For example, when a spiritual teacher raises their voice, it isn't anger but emphasis, a way of imprinting essential truths on our memory. That same science of voice and touch applies to every relationship. By knowing how someone responds, you can communicate in a way that transforms them spiritually, mentally and emotionally, rather than simply provoking reactive emotion. Emotions themselves vibrate at different frequencies. Low vibration states, fear, lust, anger, bind us to reactive patterns that yield the same old mistakes, hasty decisions, harmful words, broken relationships. As you cultivate higher vibration states, compassion, clarity, purpose, you don't become less emotional, you become more responsive rather than reactive. Feelings remain, but they're guided by consciousness rather than impulse. Raising your vibration isn't about catchy mantras or tone alone, it's about reconnecting with ancestral knowledge and spiritual guidance. When you tune into that lineage, what some call downloads, you receive insights spontaneously, solutions, ideas and directions you never consciously knew. Rather than stumbling blind, you navigate life with precision, making choices aligned with your true self and purpose. This path of inner mastery extends even to the cycle of life and death. Spirits who pass before birth, or those who complete their lessons early, continue to guide us. They become our guardians, present in name and memory, teaching us that no spirit truly dies, each moves on once its chapter is complete, only to return when its lessons demand it. According to spiritual tradition, our sojourn in this realm has a natural span, 120 years, as the book of Genesis suggests, yet within that time, each soul must fulfill distinct laws and codes. In essence, the journey is about reclaiming your mind, stepping out of the confusion of external demands, and returning to your own center, your own mind, your own spirit. As the ancient Egyptians declared, "I am an Egyptian." To live fully, you must think, speak, eat, sleep and act in alignment with your truest heritage. Once you do, you'll find that every emotion, every energy, has its place, and nothing will lure you off course again.